What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Happy Saturday, by the way. Hopefully you guys are having a good start to the weekend. Let's go over this brand new Heroes Path that's just dropped in the game right now. It's called the Anniversary Path. It's a 4-day event. Now, if you guys missed it, there is the Fusion announced start date. It's going to be June 5th. So that's on Thursday. So that's something to keep in mind as you start spending resources this weekend. Personally, I would advise, if you're tight on resources, if you're having any kind of considerations of not being able to finish the fusion, for example, and if you want to do the fusion, I would definitely say, probably save your resources this weekend, try to accumulate more, do the minimum for things and so forth, and then and then obviously save your resources for the fusion. But if you want to do some extra stuff on the weekend, this anniversary path is active. Now, together with this anniversary path, there's also a champion chase. So that's very relevant to keep in mind as well, because to get points for the anniversary path, it's going to be upgrading champions, which is training, champion training, and getting artifacts, which is basically dungeon diving. Now, I mentioned the champion chase running alongside the anniversary path because when you're upgrading champions, usually you need food. And when you basically need food, you can open up some mystery shards, which will give you some value towards the champion chase, which is all good, right? So you can kind of double dip there as well, do things a bit efficiently. In terms of double dipping, you can also basically get accessories and artifacts at the same time as upgrading champions. So you could basically farm dungeons with food champions, or you can do campaign farming gear in campaign while you're leveling up your champions as well. So something to keep in mind is that there is a dragon tournament with boosted speed gear available for you guys. So technically you could run dragon with a solo or dual team and then run some food alongside it. This is a pretty lackluster dragon tournament. Not much is going on here. Even for the first, second, place winners of this tournament, you're not really getting much. There's no primal quartz or anything like that. But 3x speed is definitely worthwhile if you're really just progressing through the game. You need some speed gear. I would probably just stop somewhere around the coins maybe, and then switch over to campaign and then just farm up campaign gear while leveling up more efficiently in campaign. Like I said, the champion chase is active, so you can pull mystery shards and all that stuff. And then build up the food towards the anniversary path. Pretty standard champion chase here. We got the big rock at the top, which is nice to see. Keep in mind also that there is a primal shard boost starting tomorrow that will line up with the champion chase. So the good thing about this weekend event, as well, obviously the anniversary path ties into all this, is that all of the events, they really tie into each other really, really well. You can definitely double or triple dip really, really well. Not really triple dip, but you can have things that kind of correlate directly or indirectly with all of the events, which is good. So let's break down this hero's path here a little bit here. I did jump in and take a look at the point breakdown. It's actually the same as the lover's path from last year. So from about 15 months ago, last February, the point totals are the same. So we can tell that, there's no sneaky, point inflation here for any of these points. So at least they're the same as from last year. Now, generally speaking, I usually use the value in between the 5-star epic and the 6-star rare in terms of points. There is a math equation here. You basically just calculate the frequency of drops per rating, and then you get the average points from that. But this is just like kind of the lazy man's way of doing it. So 31 and 38. So I just use 35 points per hard 10 drop. So you're getting 35 points per 20 energy, which means it's 1.75 points per energy spent in a dungeon. So if you want to do this strictly from dungeon diving, that's how many points you're going to get per energy. So let's take a look at what the path has, and then we'll do some path breakdowns and path point totals. So, void shard, primal shard, medium stone, and a big stone here, and a sacred shard. Usually the sacred shards are a little bit overpriced, so I don't recommend chasing those. Now the books could be very useful for you if you're looking for books for champions and so forth. Primal shard obviously going to have increased value since we're going to have the 2x primal event happening at the same time as this anniversary path. Void shard is always good, and a opportunity to get a big stone here is always a good thing. Now let's break down the paths that I think most people would probably go for. All right, from an in-game player perspective, the events that are currently active for the weekend, the big thing that stands out is the accessibility or the access to two of these big stones. Not saying they're super accessible because they're not. Obviously, 10K in the Champion Chase is quite expensive, and then 30K down here, and then some. It's going to be pretty expensive, but they do stand out to me as, you know, obviously the most sought after items here. No mythical book in this path, but even if mythical book was in the path, I would still say the big rock is the most sought after. So I would take a beeline approach and go straight for the big rock if I was trying to do this with minimal resources. So I'd probably go down something like 250, 500, and then go straight down to the rock, pick it up, and then be done with this event. If I were to do that, the total cost would be 39,250 points. And if you want to just do that strictly from dungeon diving, that's going to cost you about 22,000 energy. Now that's obviously very expensive. So obviously you want to mix in training in there as well to bring that cost down. And it looks like this event will be mostly done through training as opposed to dungeon diving. Dungeon diving would just be the secondary supplemental way we get points. All right, so here in purple is probably the biggest package deal that you could get without actually going for the big stone. So if the big stone is not interesting for you at 39,000 points, this one, you get the primal shard, you get 2 books, and you get the void shard and the medium stone. Now that sounds like it's pretty good value relative to a single big stone. So first thing you need to do is go down the left or right hand side, depending which side you value more. You can value, I personally value the coins more, of course, but you could definitely go down, for example, you can go down the 250 point coins here and then 30 gems and then go into the far right. That might make more sense, but it depends what you value more. You might value the medium oils more. You might value the powder dust more, but the left and right columns are the same point values. Just depends what items you value more. But in the end, you're going to scoop up both the medium stone and the void shard because you have to get the 2 keys, which then you use to unlock the middle 2 key lock here, get the primal shard, and then you can pick up the 2 books. Now, this is a little bit of a tricky part because you can actually just bypass some of this. So you don't need to go down both the left and right completely. You can bypass basically half of it by doing this. So once you reach this kind of line here, you can go down to pick up the Mortal Soulstone, or if you went down the right side, you can pick up the gold coins here. And then again, you can basically go across this path and then pick up the far right or far left side, depending which side you go for. But yeah, so generally 50,000 points for this kind of package here. You kind of get quite a bit of stuff. If you're working it out purely from a dungeon diving perspective, it's 29,000 energy in dungeons, hard 10, which is, you know, again, very expensive. So I would recommend using training or incorporating more training into your point breakdowns. Now, these are probably the bigger, more complicated paths. Obviously, if you're not going for these big kind of reward payouts, and like I said, definitely take it easy for the weekend here, especially if you're kind of low on resources because the fusion's coming up on Thursday. I'd recommend just getting the low-hanging fruit, just getting whatever you can. Pick up some gems, pick up the coins here, the Iron Twins coins, which aren't that easy to get. Pick up the Mortal Soulstone. Again, the gold coins here are harder to get. And then just leave the rest, right? Leave the rest. Obviously, you leave the silver bits, you leave the player and play points. They don't really have too much value. Even the 4-star speed glyph here is not too much value because we do have the 4 stars a little bit more accessible nowadays. It's, you know, if it was a 5-star, maybe it's a bit different story, but a 4-star is just not super rare. Unfortunately, there's no other way to access the legendary books without opening the padlock here, and that requires 2 keys. All right, guys, and the last path I want to highlight here in green is kind of like the more budget path. You basically go down, you pick up the medium stone or the void shard, depending left or right, whichever path you prefer. And then you just dart on across the other way, either left or right, pick up the Mortal Soulstone, pick up either the medium oils here. And then you connect with either the medium stone or the void shard. So this way you pick up the void shard and a medium stone for 21,750 points, which breaks down to about 12,000 energy, strictly used in dungeons. Now keep in mind that this is a 4-day event. So 4-day event, basically what you guys want to do, especially if you guys are, you know, strapped for energy or free to play, if you guys use all your energy on a daily basis, all your advanced quests, all your regeneration energy, you get about 1,000 energy per day. That's usually what I tell people, and that's usually what it is for fusions, for example, for fusion planning. So for a 4-day event, you're looking at about 4,000 energy worth of, grinding, for example. And then basically you have to find the rest of the points from training or using gems. So for example, if you're using all the free energy in 4 days, that's 4,000 energy. If you break that up into hard 10 runs, that gives you about 7,000 points. So you got about a third of the budget path already done, just with, advanced quest, daily regeneration energy. After that, you need to find, the remaining 14,000 points, which can be done through training or using gems to farm more dungeons, for example. But like I said, training is going to be the way you want to get points in this. You're going to want to make food while you're farming gear at the same time, whether it be campaign or doing dungeons. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully this was informative for you guys. Obviously, I'm a little bit behind on everything. I don't think it's a bad path in terms of overall structure. There's some good rewards here. Like I said, having the access to the big rock in 2 events for this weekend is actually really nice, especially for in-game players that don't spend money. Then we have access to these big rocks, which we never have access to. But yeah, it's kind of a resource dump weekend just before the big fusion. Obviously, the big Chaos Awaken event is happening next Thursday at the same time as the fusion. And then the event dungeon will be open, and then we'll have to spend energy there to farm the pinpoint gear and all that stuff. So this is kind of just keeping us busy, trying to drain our resources before that big stuff is going to happen. But I mean, if you're already playing the game and we're already doing things normally like farming dungeons, training up our characters, even if you're running Minotaur, you're gaining levels, training up some of your champs anyways, you're at least going to get some resources back for it during this anniversary path. I wouldn't sweat it too much, but if you're going to be, maybe a little bit more gung-ho, these are the breakdowns for the paths that you might be interested in. Personally speaking, locking the books and the primal shard behind the 2 keys is a little bit nasty, because once you open the 2 keys here, even if you just wanted the primal shard, it kind of makes you kind of want to go for the 2 books as well. But the budget path here, just to pick up a medium stone and a void shard, I think that's not too bad. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are planning to do. Hopefully your weekend's going well. Thanks again for watching until the end. Appreciate your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.